Hello, and welcome to Disruption and Innovation, Creative Performing Arts Responses to COVID-19. My name is Tori Allen, and I'm the President and CEO of Arts Midwest. We're so honored to be presenting this webinar as part of a series put on by the Alliance of Performing Arts Conferences. I know that the last 2 months have been incredibly difficult for so many folks in the performing arts. I hope this webinar can provide you with some concrete, creative ideas for ways to move forward. These panelists are doing incredible work creating community in a time when we need it more than ever. I also hope that you'll join us for more webinars from Arts Midwest. We will focus on the themes of community, connection, innovation, and creativity. If you're interested in learning more about our upcoming webinars, hop on our email list and follow us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. With that, I'm going to turn this session over to our moderator, Ashley Hanson. Ashley is a social practice theater artist, community organizer, and advocate for arts in rural areas. She is the founder and director of the Department of Public Transformation, an artist-led organization that collaborates with local artists and civic leaders in rural areas to develop creative strategies for community connection and civic participation. Ashley, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me moderate this important conversation, Tori. Before we begin, we want to acknowledge the heaviness and grief so many of us are holding right now around the horrific tragedy of George Floyd's death at the hands of Minneapolis police. I invite you to join me in a moment of reflection and to consider our shared responsibility to demand accountability, transparency, and justice. Our places, our artists, and our communities are holding a lot. We recognize the complexity, tension, and privilege of gathering online today by sharing a digital land acknowledgement written by Adrian Wong of Spider Web Show in Ontario. Since our activities are shared digitally to the internet, let's also take a moment to consider the legacy of colonization embedded within the technologies, structures, and ways of thinking we use every day. We are using equipment and high-speed internet not available in many Indigenous communities. I invite you to join me in acknowledging our shared responsibility to make good of this time, and for each of us to consider our roles in reconciliation, decolonization, and allyship. As we transition to the start of today's webinar, there are a few items we'd like to draw your attention to. Closed captioning is available for this webinar. To turn it on, just press the closed captioning bar in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. This webinar is being recorded. An archived version will be available on Arts Midwest's YouTube channel by the end of the week. Following the webinar, all attendees will be emailed a resource guide with a worksheet on developing creative solutions, resources to help you dig into online tool solutions, and more information on our panelists' projects that they will be sharing today. Also, next Tuesday, June 2nd, following this webinar, Arts Midwest will be holding study halls for smaller groups to come together and discuss creative performing arts responses. Information about these study halls will be included in the follow-up email with the resource packet, so keep an eye out. For our time together today, we will begin by hearing from each of 3 amazing panelists working in music, dance, and theater today. Each of our guests successfully transitioned their programming online, created new programming, or found creative ways to connect their community in the digital realm in light of COVID-19. We will start by inviting each guest to give a brief presentation, and then we'll end the hour with a Q&A discussion, sharing questions that were gathered from you, our participants, prior to today's event. So first, allow me to introduce Kelly Turpin. Kelly Turpin is the development manager of Cantus and the founder and producer of Arbeit Opera Theater in the Twin Cities. Kelly's work in the nonprofit art sector strives to break down the barriers of the classical art form in order to actively engage more communities and bring people together. During COVID-19, Cantus pivoted to record the COVID-19 sessions. They held the Cantus Idol online competition and created a virtual gala, all which helped raise over $150,000 for the organization in less than 2 months. Kelly, I'll hand it over.
Hi, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for gathering with us today. I know I only have 10 minutes to share everything we've learned in the last 2 months, but I do want to take a moment to give a brief shout out to Arts Midwest for inviting us to be here today and for presenting this for free, which is absolutely fantastic. So kudos to Arts Midwest. Okay, time to dive right in. Cantus, for those of you that haven't heard of us before, is a men's vocal ensemble based in the Twin Cities. There are 8 full-time singing artists who perform year-round locally in the state, as well as hold a robust national touring schedule and sometimes internationally. This year is actually our 25th anniversary, so it's been quite an adventurous few months of celebrating that so far. Something that draws many to Cantus, myself included actually, is the personal connection. Our vision is to give voice to shared human experiences, and our programming and all of our community and artistic collaborations always lead with that vision in mind. And that vision has not changed during this time. And actually that's an important first point I want to make, is that this is not a time to adapt your mission and vision, but instead lean into it. The only thing that's changing right now is the how, not the why. I think there's, of course, a little bit of added stress for all of us behind that. But it's now an opportunity to get creative within your organization and be honest with what resources you have in creating that new how, but still leading with the why of your mission. One of the other unique things about Cantus is our collaborative model. All of our 8 singing artists make up the artistic director as a whole. And in this instance, especially, it allowed us to act quickly and take action together. Our artists are all full-time employees with benefits, and we're very lucky that that is still the case. So we all worked 24/7 to put some plans into motion. I think we can all remember how quickly everything was shifting in March. Here in Minnesota, we were a little bit behind closing things down within the coasts, but we, of course, weren't able, as I think we all would have liked to, take a step back and strategize our upcoming plans and make a 30, 60, 90-day timeline as we normally would. So we started with an artistic call to action, and that resulted in the COVID-19 sessions. These were created over about a 3-day period before our offices and our rehearsal spaces were closed, and they resulted in 24 new music video recordings that so far have reached 2 million views worldwide. And while the artists were putting those together, we then prioritized where our financial gaps were going to be due to our spring show cancellations and the rest of our tour season canceling, as well as the postponement of what was going to be our big financial fundraiser for the year, our 25th anniversary gala and concert. And then this is where Cantus Idol Online came in. This project has a lot of details and moving parts that I can't explain in 10 minutes. So if it sounds like a model that is something you're curious in working with, or something similar to what you already have planned, please feel free to reach out and we'll try and share what we've learned. Cantus Idol is just what it sounds like. It's like American Idol, but this online option, there's a text to donate or a donate to vote model is what we came up with. So we had 4 rounds and the contestant videos were all taken and recorded in the safety of everyone's home with iPhone or iPad. And the contestants were made up of our current artists, as well as some of our wonderful alums who wanted to be part of it as well. Each round was launched on Monday night at 7 p.m. And then our followers had 24 hours to vote until Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. We'd then tally all the votes on Wednesday morning and make the announcement on who would be moving on to the next round and any other results on Wednesday nights. Being a classical arts organization, you can probably guess that we do have an older demographic. And with everything moving online and how quickly everything was moving online, we wanted to make sure that they were able to come with us and to make it as clear and easy for them to participate and engage in this as possible. So, for example, we posted all the videos on our website as well as our social media pages so people could choose where they wanted to watch whatever they were more comfortable with. You could still donate to vote through our website for those that were more familiar with that. But then we also created a Give Lively account, which is a free text to donate platform. It's free and easy, and we actually got really great feedback from that, so I highly recommend it. This project as a whole, Cantus Idol Online, was more of a dynamic, or it turned into a dynamic duo situation. I worked with one of our singing artists who also happens to be brilliant at graphic design and video editing. So we were able to do almost everything on the back end and in-house. We worked together on how it would look from a communication and marketing standpoint and what the overall vibe would be, and also how we could make it as easy as possible for our community to engage in. I'd also like to note that the success we received from this that I'll share with you in a minute, it of course would not have been as successful had it not been for the brilliance and creativity of our artists in creating these videos. One of the little hiccups that we hit when we were first planning this was due to sync rights. So we had to use all songs that were in the public domain. So that's all songs from 1924 or earlier. So if you're curious, actually all 4 rounds are still available on our website to watch at cantussings.org. And just like everything else happening in these last few months, it was all thrown together as strategically as possible, of course, but also extremely quickly. And many things felt like it was down to the wire. And this was also our first big fundraising push since COVID had reared its ugly head. So we really had no idea what to expect other than just doing our best and putting it out there. Within that first round, in that very first 24 hours, we raised over $20,000. And in all 4 rounds combined, we raised almost $60,000 just in voting donations. The other benefits we saw from this, beyond financial, was an automatic increase in our social media engagement, as well as the feedback we received was exactly what we were hoping for. People were enjoying this engagement factor and feeling a part of something. We got a lot of comments saying how refreshing it was. Thank you for this moment of levity. Thank you for giving me something to look forward to every week. And also something else I want to point out is that the fundraising model for this was inclusive. You didn't have to donate to watch the videos or be a part of it throughout those weeks. And for those of you that are familiar with Give to the Max Day here in Minnesota, or Giving Tuesday, the similar national model of that is that it's for any sized donor. We had people giving $10 to be divided up between 5 different singers that they wanted to vote for. And we also had people giving a $1,000 donation to vote just for one singer during one round. To round this all out, we then held a virtual gala and the Cantus Idol Grand Finale on May 3rd. You can also still watch that on our website if you're curious how that all came together. That was another project in itself, so I unfortunately don't have enough time to go into that in more detail. But overall, in the last 2 months of fundraising and engagements that we've done, we raised almost $150,000 in just individual donations alone. But we are just one organization in all of this. You're all out there doing the amazing work, putting beautiful art out there with your own unique missions. But some statements of wisdom, I guess, that I can share with you in these last couple minutes is first to that point. Don't compare yourself to other organizations or the work you're doing. Know your resources. Know the time you have available for your staff and artists and board, and be successful in what you can accomplish fully and well. Also, value your work. Free offerings are great and so appreciated by so many, but then don't be afraid to lean onto your donors. Allow your greatest supporters to be your heroes right now. In all our fundraising these past 2 months, we've never gotten an angry message, knock on wood, and we've actually received more first-time gifts than ever before. They want you, the people that already love you, they want you to be there when this is all over. You're the light at the end of the tunnel for them. So be thoughtful in your messaging, but honest in what you need. And of course, this is not an ideal situation for anyone, but from a business perspective in performing arts, it's a different kind of energy we're dealing with. It's different than what we're used to. But remember, this does not have to replace that. Let it amplify it. In this moment, how can you offer greater accessibility? How can you reach more people and get connected to your community in a different way? Okay, 5 seconds. My last thing is don't dwell on what you can't control right now. This is a chance for opportunists. So be one, seize on that, be bold, and let's all support each other in these new efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm feeling really energized from that presentation. Next, I'd like to introduce Amy Levinson. Amy Levinson is the Associate Artistic Director at the Geffen Playhouse. During her 22-year tenure at the Geffen, she has spearheaded numerous programs for commissioning and developing new plays. After the Geffen closed its doors due to COVID-19, the theater launched an online project, Geffen Stay House, and recently premiered The Present, written and performed by Helder Gomeres and directed by Frank Marshall, on which Amy served as production dramaturg. Amy, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me be part of today. I am incredibly inspired by all of the work that everybody is doing, and thrilled to be able to talk about the pivot that we had to take in the middle of March. Like so many theaters, like every theater, we had to close our doors. And initially, we had the great good fortune of having material on Broadway HD. So we immediately were able to put that out while we sort of put our heads together to figure out what it was that we were going to do. You know, like everyone, we didn't know what kind of timeline we were talking about, but certainly we have a staff of people who were eager to create. So immediately we started Geffen Stay House, which were short videos that artists we love offered to participate in. It ran the gamut. People sang songs. Katherine Hahn did a version of Glengarry Glen Ross with American Girl dolls. And it really, that has been just sort of a wonderful piece of theater to give the middle of every week. But just like when we're building shows here, you know, we do 9 plays a year. We are very artist driven, and found that in this time that what we needed was to collaborate with the artists with whom we've worked previously. And last year we did a show called Invisible Tango by Helder Gomeres. And he is a magician, an illusionist, but he's also really a storyteller, and his work is sort of theater magic hybrid. And he proposed an idea of doing an online experience with a small group of people that would be completely interactive. So most of this I'm going to spend talking about this particular project, because it does really encompass all of the things that we're talking about with taking material online. The way that we built the show, the way that we teched the show, the way that we are now presenting the show, and how it's all been put into, we're running it like a regular season show. So the first part of it was everything, you know, like it was mentioned before, everything is fast-tracked right now. You know, we wanted to get things online as quickly as possible, and Helder was very game to start writing immediately. But from the moment when we started thinking about it to our first preview was about just shy of 3 weeks. So we took what we normally do in the span of 6 months in terms of designing and creating a show and casting a show and, you know, all of the things that go into putting a play together and marketing a show, and crunched it into this 3-week period. which I have to say, for all of us at the theater, the staff, and also the artists involved, it was really salve for the soul, because we really needed to be working. We really wanted to be focused on a new project, with everything else sort of being so up in the air, and, timelines being so up in the air. This was something concrete that we could focus on. So the first part of the process was getting a script together, which we did very quickly, kind of over the course of 4 days. Helder had a story that he wanted to tell about having been in quarantine as a kid, and the experience of that, and what he walked away from that experience having learned. And then, so he tells this story throughout, and then there are card things and I hate to call them tricks, but they are, card tricks and other tricks that he does over the course of the show that are all weaved into the story that he's telling. But the kicker with this was that we wanted it to be totally interactive. So prior to every performance, each person receives a box, the present, hence the title. And within the box are materials that you utilize throughout the show. There are only 25 attendees for each performance, so everybody is on screen at all times, and he is communicating with the audience. So in a way, the audience is, another character in the show. It was probably much easier to create this because it was with one person, but there were scenic elements. There were elements in terms of how to build the boxes and mail the boxes that were going out, because needless to say, everything that we have done has been done with social distance. There were instances where materials had to be brought in and out of places, and so there were always protocols that we had to put in place. It's amazing what you don't think about until you're put into a position where you have to think about it. And I think we've all found this as we start to talk about opening in the future, things we've always taken for granted. But it turned out that we ended up having to spend a lot of time in the creation of this show. The art of it came together rather quickly. But really where we had to spend the bulk of our time was how we were going to execute it electronically, what platform we were going to use, how we were going to use that platform. And just like regular tech for a play, we got into the technical part of it. And it was, you had to deal with the minutia of where a picture looks better, how the sound is better, what's going to create the best overall experience for your audience. That part of it was kind of wonderful, actually, that it was like being in tech for a show. And we have an incredible team here. There aren't enough thank yous in the world for our production team who figured out how to execute the boxes that were needed. And Helder and Frank Marshall worked together so beautifully. And we knew that people were going to want to do this. It's an interactive experience online. I don't think we could have anticipated the response that we had. The show sold out immediately, within 2 hours the first time. Then we extended, sold out immediately again. And the last time we extended for 6 weeks, it sold out in 26 minutes. And I only say this to say that as everybody is thinking about creating online content, I think that part of why this show is working is because we created this show specifically for this medium. In the same way that whenever we do a play, we're creating a play specifically for this medium of live theater, something that can only exist in this space, and the ephemera of it is very important. And in this instance, we did exactly the same thing. We wanted to figure out how to use the medium to its full extent so that we weren't necessarily trying to recreate the experience that we have in the theater. I talk about this all the time, that article that came out about how people's heartbeats become synchronized when you're in a theater space. And my hope is that when we're interacting on this show with Helder, that I don't think that there's any way to achieve the synchronicity of heartbeat that we achieve when we're in a living, breathing space. But I do think that this has a quality. People feel like they've sort of stepped out of their own quarantine for a moment, and they've come into a shared experience with 24 other people. The most important element of all of this for us was the opportunity to continue to create. I know I'm sure that many of you are artists, and many of you are trying to figure out what the best path is forward. And there's no one size fits all for this. I've definitely found that all of the things that I've taken in online, but I would encourage you to find the medium that works for you and then create specifically for that medium until we can get back into our theaters with our audiences and with our colleagues, which I know we're all really looking forward to. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. You called this generative process salve for the soul, and I really felt that in your presentation. Next, allow me to introduce Katherine Disenhof. Katherine Disenhof runs Dancing Alone Together, a website and Instagram account launched in response to COVID-19 that aims to be a central resource for finding digital dance opportunities, such as virtual classes, streamed performances, and more. Katherine is a furloughed company dancer with the Northwest Dance Project and previously worked at Alonzo King Lines Ballet as both a program coordinator and graphic designer. Katherine, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Ashley. And thanks to Arts Midwest for giving me this opportunity to really kind of talk about for the first time what I have been very rigorously working on for the past couple of months. In contrast to Amy and Kelly's really amazing projects, I'm a little unique. I am a brand new presence that's been constructed entirely in the wake of COVID-19 and recent events. So let's rewind back to March 13th. If you can think back to where this all began, I am a full-time professional dancer, and I was suddenly told in the middle of my day after a company morning ballet class to pack up and go home and isolate for 2 weeks, which was very sudden. And I walked home thinking, how do I keep my momentum going? How can I not feel isolated? And how do I stay engaged so that whenever this is all over, optimistically, we were just closed for 2 weeks at the time, how can I hit the ground running again whenever we're back up and return to what's to come? So I got home and I opened up my Instagram feed. And being the enormous dance nerd that I am, I happen to follow a lot of dance companies, a lot of artists, a lot of presenters and venues. And this is what I began to see. I saw live stream dance classes from renowned dancers. I saw opportunities to watch these amazing shows online that I had dreamed of seeing. I saw new creative prompts and movement making challenges for being at home. And I thought, wow, like this is new. Look at all these amazing opportunities. Look at this unprecedented access. I'm going to have no problem filling 2 weeks. And it dawned on me that every dancer is going to experience some sort of disruption. If they hadn't already, it was coming. And since dance to me is about sharing experience, I thought that this pandemic suddenly felt kind of like this ultimate shared experience, and wondered how we could use our medium of dance to not feel isolated, to keep communities alive. So then it moved into the question for me of how can I help? I was seeing all this content and I wanted to create some sort of way to bring it all together. I wanted people to be able to access this content quickly in a way that could mobilize them, and also in a way that could really help support the teachers that are bravely and courageously adopting these new virtual classes so quickly. And that's how Dancing Alone Together was born. So Dancing Alone Together is a central resource for finding opportunities in this new digital dance world, in digital dance landscape. It is run by myself, and it is funded by donations. I do not host any classes or events. Dancing Alone Together simply serves as a way to support and plug existing opportunities that are out there. And it's organized into 3 different content streams or ways to engage with dance: move, create, and watch. And for the purposes of this short presentation, I'm going to focus mostly on move, which are the live stream dance classes. And that's because that's the resource that I think really helped put Dancing Alone together on the map. It's the content that has been really kind of new and fun and engaging, and the most popular content. And I also think it's the content that's been in this most constant cycle of shifting and evolving. I've definitely been observing and then iterating and observing and iterating based on different and new online digital behavior trends. So Dancing Alone Together functions currently as kind of 2 online presences. The first is the website, which I call the library. It is a community-fed database of resources. That's the website. And then the other element of this is the Instagram account, which I call my giant megaphone. It has 37,000 followers as of a couple days ago, which, starting from 0 on March 16th, is kind of been really incredible to watch. And it has been really crucial for user acquisition, for marketing, for getting that community response that I feel like really has been the heart of Dancing Alone Together. So speaking specifically about the website was kind of the core of what I knew this needed to exist as. Obviously, all these opportunities were popping up on social media, but I really felt like a website was going to be essential in terms of collecting information and organizing it in ways that people didn't feel overwhelmed and bombarded by opportunities, but could really directly access what they needed. I launched as a Squarespace website on March 17th, very quickly. And Squarespace was great because I was familiar with it. It's a great way to very quickly and easily put out a clean website. And attached to that, I had a Google form for collecting community submissions. Again, this was a community-fed platform. It wasn't great because, as you can see, all these submissions came in a nasty looking spreadsheet that I was manually entering into Squarespace myself every day, literally entered about 1,000 classes or more. So as this new digital dance landscape began to unfold, I realized this is not sustainable. I need to shift this to a model that can persist, that can have all the bells and whistles and the functionality for the scale that we're at. So then I, about a month into this project, built a WordPress website that has a lot more robust functionality when it comes to classes. There's now a class webpage for every single class, which allows instructors and faculty to share Zoom links and passwords, because suddenly Zoom was becoming a thing instead of just social media classes. And people can also very easily sort through by class style or by streaming platform. So the website is currently now on a WordPress-based website. But the success of this website and getting the word out really would not have been possible without Instagram. I was seeing all these opportunities pop up on Instagram, like I mentioned, and it just felt natural to go to the people where they are, meet them there. So I didn't really invest as much time into Facebook. Instagram really became the key for me. And it felt like a place where dancers already go to try and find news, to find inspiration, to find opportunity. So I decided to really capitalize on Instagram's kind of built-in network and engagement tools. I started just reposting at first all of the opportunities I was seeing and realized that's no good. It's just contributing to the noise of social media. So day 2, I started building what I was calling digest posts, which are daily digests of class information. Basically, I would batch the classes together that I was seeing. I would tag the instructor so that people could just hop on over to that Instagram account and connect to that class. I put a consistent time zone on the classes, which, as these were happening around the world, was really important. And I shared them daily. I think consistency here was key in terms of finding an audience and becoming a reliable source of information for people. As you can see from this third post and the insights that are posted on this slide, the community really took this and ran with it. I had 10,000 followers, I think, in 5 days, and it's just been snowballing from there. I would put these posts up and people were tagging their friends to take class. They were sharing them. Instructors, because I was being able to tag and connect with them, took this on and shared them with their networks. And again, it just the snowball effect of social media, if you can hit it at the right time, is really powerful. So as I said, the digests have been kind of an ongoing, consistent thing to build that following, but I have been also adapting the material as trends have changed. Instagram was first up, but then it became more Zoom, and then people asked for European time zones, and studios became online, so I did try and adapt and change with that. So now what's next? The response has been really amazing. I think it's been great to see the dance world and audience grow in a time where we are suddenly without space and without our kind of studios to hold on to. I have heard that the audience is growing. People are returning to dance. New people are trying dance for the first time. I hope to keep Dancing Alone together alive as things come in the next phase of whatever is next, but I'm certainly going to keep it nimble enough to adapt to all the new online behaviors and trends that I'm seeing.
Thank you, Katherine. I'm so inspired with how quickly you saw the opportunity and filled this very clear need, and it's no wonder why you have 37,000 loyal followers. We're now going to move into the Q&A portion of the webinar to dive a little deeper with our guests. It was so great to hear from each of you how you have creatively and thoughtfully transitioned your programs to the digital space. As you know, we had the opportunity for our webinar participants to send in questions for our panelists in advance. We received many questions about the technical side of things, audience and artist engagement online, and how to finance this new or adapted programming. So in the next 15 minutes or so, we'll do our best to address as many of these questions as possible. So this first question is for Amy. Amy, in your presentation, you talked about the creative process. Many folks are curious about the complexity of moving that process online. Do you have any advice that you could give in how to hold digital rehearsals? On the technical side of things, any advice you have for folks creating and rehearsing a production created for an online platform? What have you learned in that process?
I will say, and I think I mentioned this, the luxury of only having one performer does simplify your online rehearsal process. So we were able to almost, like we do all Zoom meetings, whoever needed to be in any particular rehearsal at any particular time, we would go into a gallery view. The thing though that was different about this is obviously you have to there has to be a camera working, right? So all of a sudden you have this added thing that we're not normally dealing with in the theater. The beauty of having Frank Marshall direct it is obviously he's a filmmaker. So there was a lot of focus on how are we going to, when you're doing a magic show, it's very, very important that you never cut away. So, because you don't want the audience to think you're doing anything shady. So he worked with Helder, has a fiance. Her name is Katerina, and she's extraordinary. And she had never done camera work. And she was trained on the fly by Frank over the phone on how to run the camera. So this is what I meant about adaptability. I would love to sort of be able to give a blanket statement about how you run a rehearsal. But the truth of the matter is, and I guess this is true for, regular rehearsal too. We have a team of stage managers, of rotating stage managers, so that somebody doesn't need to be managing the show every night live. But we had stage managers on. So when we discovered that there were props that were needed, or there were all of those things were sort of the normal process, but nothing else about it was normal. It was all sort of doing it this way. And we tended to break up the day based on, whether we were talking about tech needs, we were talking about script stuff, we were talking about camera work, and then slowly but surely, everybody had to come together. But I will say this about working on Zoom. You have to set a time limit because it really does require something in your brain that is, it's very, very difficult to engage on Zoom. I can sit in a 10 out of 12 tech rehearsal, no problem, without ever feeling like I'm fried. On Zoom, I have a very different experience. So I think it's very important that people take that into consideration when creating rehearsal time. Do it in 2-hour blocks and then take a break, because people need to do like brain reset in the real world and then come back on to Zoom. That would be one of the most valuable things that we learned in the process.
Thank you, Amy. I really appreciate that very clear, those 2-hour blocks is what you found to be successful. The second question is for Katherine. You did such a beautiful job of expressing how, with the dance community transitioning programming online, it provided much more access to movement opportunities. But with so much digital content competing for audiences' screen time, as Amy had mentioned, we can't take in so much of that screen time in a day. What successful approaches have you seen that really set either your content or other folks' content apart? How do you find folks are having an effective and clear voice in creating digital content that audience and dancers can find useful and engaging?
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. There certainly is a lot of kind of noise to social media, and it's a hard thing to navigate. I think visual branding right now is kind of key. Creating content that people instantly recognize as they're scrolling is yours. So leaning into kind of visual, either branding elements or familiar faces from your organization, or recognizable work. And then also just creating some sort of, if you are moving your programming online, make sure people can find the information they're looking for so that your fans really know to look. Is it every Monday that they're coming to your feed, so that you can have them coming back to you instead of just hoping and praying that somewhere in the Instagram algorithm or Facebook algorithm, it shows them at the time what they need. So creating some sort of familiarity and consistency, I think, to your marketing is really crucial. I will also give a shout out to Capacity Interactive. They are an awesome organization that specializes in digital marketing for performing arts groups. And they're doing a lot of work right now in gathering resources to help people create effective digital marketing solutions and content specific to their brands.
Awesome. Thanks again for that very specific tool we can use. And a question for Kelly. In your presentation, you mentioned that this is a time to look at the how and not the why of the work that we do. So related to the how, and this is something that a lot of folks wanted to know, are there tools to allow real-time, synchronistic communal choral singing online? Or what tools do you use, and how do you create that virtual ensemble kind of video or songs to share with your audience?
That is a big question. I wish I had a positive answer to the first. I am not aware of something in real time, but someone get out there, create it. We will get it. That's $1 million idea right there. The tech side of things honestly was not my realm. So luckily I connected with the people we had on our end who did that. So I can share with you what we used. Again, we were really lucky that we were able to do most of this in-house on the back end, that we have a couple of our artists that are just also multi-talented in this side of things. So we used for those virtual ensemble videos, I think you're like the Brady Bunch videos that we've kind of put together a couple times. We use tools from Adobe Creative Suite. So Audition is what we did our sound in, and then Premiere Pro is what we did our videos in. And then so the artist I was working on mostly for this, Jacob Christopher, he lined up all the video and audio that was coming in. Everyone would pre-record it at home and whatever they had and wherever they were able, they sent it to us as a file. He lined all that up together and then exported all the audio tracks into Audition and made them all the same length, so they were lined up. And then the individual audio tracks were sent to one of our another amazing artists, Chris Foss, who then tweaked them on a sound design level a little bit more. And I think he used Logic Pro X for that. And then he sent it as one file back to Jacob, who then put the final touches on the video and input it all together. And I honestly think this is like a condensed version also of what happened. So it seems like it should be something that, yeah, let's just get on and sing together. But it is something that takes a lot of time and planning. And I know beyond organizations, there's lots of school choirs or universities that are trying to figure this out. And so, yeah, I do. It's really cool when it comes together, but it does take a lot of time and resources.
And a lot of brilliant artists. And that was in our pre-conversation. What I was so inspired by was just how generative this time has been for the artists that you've all been working with, if you are able to kind of lean into it, as you mentioned, Kelly. So this next question is open to all of you, but I might throw it back to Kelly first, just because I know development is really your world. This is related to financing and fundraising. So how have each of you been able to finance these new programs and the tools needed to transition to the digital space? Relatedly, in a time when our nation's economy and our field has been drastically impacted, are you finding that your supporters are willing to contribute to your organization, pay for tickets to your digital events, or Katherine, to donate to support this work? What have been some of the best strategies you have used to financially support this part of your work? Kelly, if you want to.
Sure. Yeah, that's a big question, but a really good one. Cantus, we were lucky in that one of the big strategic plans that we had kind of reprioritized last year was to concentrate more of what was already in our infrastructure already to create more digital content going forward. So therefore, we already had that even before this all hit. That was kind of in our process already, and we'd already been seeking funds for that as part of our 25th anniversary campaign. But obviously, this whole situation required that we move it all faster than expected. And as I kind of mentioned before, we were so lucky to be able to do so much of this in-house on the back end. It was all of us putting everything together for Cantus Idol Online. We didn't use any outside resources for that. Besides, I think we paid for some like Facebook ads and things. And then for the virtual gala we put together, we hired a production company, Flight Creative. I think that'll be in the materials sent out later. And they ran everything for us from a tech end for the virtual gala. But I made the script, we edited all the videos on the back end, we did everything in-house. So that portion cost just slightly over $3,000, which ended up being a lot cheaper than if we had done an in-person gala. And then to the next question or portion of this, of asking supporters to continue contributing or buying tickets to things. As far as the contribution side of that, as I'd mentioned earlier, yes, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Again, we've been really lucky in seeing what we have these last few months, but I haven't felt that that's shifted at all, that people really, they want to step up. They want to be heroes. It's different than I think what we've experienced before. So let them do that. And I think as far as tickets, we haven't experimented with that side of things yet. I'm sure we will, but I think that falls into the same bucket as long as things are reasonable, and I think people are willing to give. And to that point as well, I think especially if you're putting something out there, if you're offering something that people can either donate to support, or you're putting some sort of presentation out there, but then you're sending a letter to ask for a gift. If people are seeing that balance of things, that you're still trying to do what you can in this time, I think especially that helps people want to give and support you through this.
Thanks, Kelly. Amy, anything to add in terms of the ticket sales and how you're transitioning?
That's actually the part of this that I was going to talk about, because obviously our fundraising continues also. We're heading into our 25th anniversary season. So there are our big fundraising goals. And now with this, those fundraising goals will be even bigger. But when we decided to launch a show, our full-time staff is still working. We're all working remotely, but so everybody was able to jump in to work on the show. Sometimes in a capacity that they don't normally work. And everybody was perfectly happy and comfortable to do that. But when we decided to do it, like every single show that we do. We wanted it to follow the same formula. So we set up 8 shows a week, and he ends up doing more than 8 shows a week because sometimes people buy out the whole show. But we kept to our calendar with our same curtain times. And so in the same way, when the show went on sale, we sold tickets for the show. There was never a question that, the artists were putting in the time and the work, and it's an hour and 10 minutes of entertainment. So the box office has been up and running and selling the show. And I think needless to say, people are so hungry for content. So there was absolutely no pushback on that. The only pushback I got was people were frustrated because they couldn't get tickets. They kept saying, you need to raise the prices so it's harder to get a ticket. Nobody has ever said that to me about a theater ticket price. So, but I feel like, that's been, it has its limits. Obviously, we have 2 theaters, 500 seat, and one that ranges between 100 and 150 seats. Right now we're talking about 25 seats a night, but you know what? This is what we can do right now. And so we're going to just keep running it like we run everything else.
Awesome. Thanks. And Katherine, on the donation side of things, I know, you're running this as an individual artist and doing this all because you saw this need for the community. Can you talk a little bit about the donation side of things?
Sure. I have definitely found people have been generous, especially at the outset. I think, everyone had to adapt their life to being at home. And I think people really appreciated organizations and platforms that were adapting with them and trying to help the situation. So I have received donations, and it's funded the kind of personal investment of time and tools that I've needed to get in order to get this thing running. I did consider doing paid advertising, charging people to list on the site. And early on, what it came down to is that just wasn't the intention and the mission behind the website. I didn't want to put a pay barrier on people who were hurting already and trying to kind of reconfigure their lives to just get the word out. So while I could have gone the business route with Dancing Alone Together, at this point, I do really want to keep it a community resource. It is still just me running this. People have offered to help, and I've been so grateful for those that have extended that helping hand. So I'm still navigating what the future looks like and where this is going to go. But donations have been very appreciated, and I'm super grateful.
Awesome. Thank you. So for our final question, I want to look toward the future, and I'd love for each of you to spend a minute or two responding to this question. As the restrictions on movement and social distancing begin to slowly lift, at least for the time being in our country, what are you all doing with your digital platforms to prepare people to come back to the live performance space? Or what things have you learned from this time that you'll bring with you into your practice post-COVID? And maybe we can go in the same order, Kelly, Amy, Katherine, to close us out.
Sure. Well, I think we're in the same boat as everyone else. We're still kind of taking it day by day, week by week, as things are progressing, and we're not rushing into anything or planning to be back, super soon. I think our feeling is it's going to take a little while, even as things open up, for people to feel comfortable gathering in large spaces. So we're very optimistic that we will still have a season, of some sort in any shape or form next year. But we're still planning on, in the meantime, adventuring into this virtual digital realm of things. And I think the best case scenario is, we put that into place, keep planning ahead. And if we're able to open sooner, we can do both, because we've gained We've gained a new community by this digital and virtual output that we've put out there on a scale that, not everyone can come to Minnesota to see our concerts or be on our tour path. So maybe finding a way more to marry the two or balance the two, at least for the foreseeable future until we know more. And then just to your second point on what we've learned, I think, especially as a classical arts organization, there's sometimes fear of something new or going too modern or digital. And I think we've all learned to be less fearful of the new and trying something different and taking risks, which I think leaves opportunity and excitement.
Thank you, Kelly. Amy?
I think, as I mentioned, we are all very eager to get back in the building, but the sentiment is the same. We will not do so until it's safe and everybody can be comfortable here. And so in the interim, we'll continue to create digital content. And then in terms of how those two things meld together, once we do get back and have live performance again, I think that we have learned that things on a digital platform have a place. There is but we don't know what that place is yet. And theater is a live art form. It's, all of these are meant to be, seen and in a room together. So, but I think to Kelly's point, I think that we were dismissive, I think, of putting new media into our art form. And I think that we have all now embraced it. And so I'm excited to see how it gets integrated, but I don't have the answer yet in terms of how that's going to happen.
Thanks, Amy. Katherine, close us out. Oh, we got you still muted there.
Got it. Dancing Alone Together, for me, was intended as a short-term project, kind of a stopgap until studios got back on their feet. And I intended to close it when studios could reopen physically. And while they haven't reopened physically, they are reopening virtually. And I've been trying to nudge people back to their local communities to really support the brick and mortar studios that we want and need to exist and flourish beyond this into the next phases. It has been interesting, as both Kelly and Amy touched on, this potential to go digital has always existed in the past couple of years, and suddenly we're forced really to embrace it. And I'm just really excited to see, especially what the dance world does with these new possibilities. I think access right now is what it should be, and hopefully what it can continue to be in some form. A lot of the feedback I've gotten is people who suddenly are finding themselves dancing again, returning to dance. And I think the potential for the audience to expand right now, despite everything that's going on, is really encouraging and inspiring.
Thank you, Katherine. And thank you all for joining this webinar presented by Arts Midwest and the Alliance of Performing Arts Conferences. We hope you have found the ideas presented here useful to you. And a huge thank you to our panelists, Kelly Turpin, Amy Levinson, and Katherine Disenhof. And please remember to check your email for the resource packet and links to sign up for the study halls based on the content of this webinar. I know I'm super excited for that resource packet. It's going to be a great tool for all of us. This webinar will be made available as a recording on the Arts Midwest YouTube channel and Facebook page. Stay safe and connected, community, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.